Every IPL season, something interesting happens in living rooms across India. People who have never played cricket in their lives start arguing about how the game will end. This prediction, the one that our friends make with total confidence about the final score, can now be worth real money through UPI. The same UPI that we use to pay for groceries or split our dinner bills. Betting in India is at least a $20 billion industry. And it has always been illegal, but it has also always existed. Whether it was in the mill chawls of Bombay in the 1960s or on offshore platforms based in Cyprus and Curacao. Every time the government tries to close it down, it finds a new way and takes a new shape. What my colleague Mrunmayee Kulkarni, a reporter at the Ken, discovered is the latest new shape is almost invisible. In this version, there are no mule accounts for the Enforcement Directorate or ED to freeze and no suspicious transaction patterns for AI to flag. And interestingly, there are also no victims who will file a complaint. It's just one Indian paying another Indian through infrastructure that the government itself built for a bet that they both agreed to place. So I asked her to walk me through it, how she got in and how the money actually moves. Here she is, starting with an IPL night that made her go undercover as a willing gambler online for this story.
I watched the IPL season with a bunch of my friends, all of whom are RCB fans, by the way, very hardcore. And it was a very typical match scene where they were sitting on the couch wearing their little IPL jerseys, yelling instructions at the players who were playing on the screen in their IPL jerseys, and they were saying things like just play singles or this is not the time to be hitting boundaries or you could get out. And one of my friends, he made a prediction. He said this would be the final score.
Hmm.
And I said, are you guessing? And he's like, no, no, I'm not guessing. This is a prediction. I watch enough matches that I know exactly what I'm talking about. The other guys, they contradicted him and they said, it's not going to be 265, maybe it'll be 250, maybe it'll be 240.
Hmm.
And the first guy, the final score actually came within like 5 runs of what he had predicted.
Wow. Okay.
And that's sort of when I realized that it's not really a realization per se, but we do have a tendency. I think I've written this in the article. We do have a tendency as millennials that if we have a skill of any sort, we tend to monetize it. We call it the hustle.
Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Snigdha Sharma, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Rachel Varghese and I will come to you with one business story that's worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Friday, the 19th of June. That hustle instinct that Mrunmayee mentioned earlier is exactly what these platforms are built on. Getting onto one though requires something that the internet alone cannot give you. She describes the access model in a way that will make sense to anybody who has watched a conspiracy thriller.
Think of it the way you would think of maybe the Illuminati, the super fictional organization, sure, that exists.
The conspiracy
The
theory
conspiracy
Illuminati.
theory. So
I
you
see.
know about the organization, but to get inside it, somebody has to vouch for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is sort of similar. Like if you were to Google the platforms that I've mentioned in the article, you
Hmm.
can probably find them anywhere and you can find maybe Telegram channels linking you to them. But if
Hmm.
you want to join them, somebody has to give you a WhatsApp number. You have to reach out to that person and they would get you into the platform.
I
I think they
see.
kind of do it to make sure journalists don't get in like us, but yeah. I texted the person and he kind of gave me a very scripted ad spiel like this is a platform, this is what you work on, these are the risks, vagera vagera.
Hmm.
Told me not to gamble too much money, like like a concerned dad would probably. And I got into the platform. I had a login ID and everything, so
A concerned dad running an illegal betting platform? Well, once Mrunmayee was inside, the site looked quite familiar. There were tabs for cricket, tennis, horse racing, odds updating ball by ball, and a wallet in the corner. The platform that she got onto is called 99 Exchange. The front end looks like every other offshore betting site that you have seen. But the back end is where this story lives. When she went to deposit money, what she found was something that the regulatory frameworks and the government struggle to even recognize.
This platform basically has wallets for everybody who is playing onto there. Uh, if I want to deposit money into the account, I would say, type in a form that said, I want to deposit, I want to add 2,000 rupees. I would get a list of accounts in front of me. Uh, till there, it is similar to what a mule site would look like. The
Hmm,
difference is that the list of accounts in front of me are essentially accounts of other people who also want to withdraw money at that time or
I
during that given particular time slot. And then I would have the option of either placing 2,000 rupees in one account, or, placing thousand rupees in some accounts. Or
see.
sometimes they would ask me to place 1,000 in one account, 5,000 in another, 500 in another, and 500 in another account. Basically, I was paying out the people who were withdrawing money from the platform. So from their wallet, 2,000 rupees would get debited. To my wallet, 2,000 rupees would get credited.
So basically, what the platform is doing is working as some kind of a matchmaker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is exactly what it's called. It's called a real-time matching engine. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and it's one gambler paying another gambler through UPI, basically.
That's
There is no middle person over there. There is no wronged victim. There's no Rapido driver having 330 crore rupees in his account. It's just a gambler to gambler transaction.
The entire process seems pretty legit if you look at it at a glance. In fact, Mrunmayee's story even features a screenshot of the deposit page, which has some very specific guidelines.
For example, the deposit page on the site I went to, on the betting site I was playing on 99 Exchange,
Mm.
basically they said you got to deposit money only in the accounts given below to get the latest credits and avoid possible delays, because these were the accounts which basically wanted to withdraw money immediately.
Uh-huh.
So they would sort of, place those accounts. Okay, this is the latest one which has asked us to withdraw money. So maybe deposit it in this one account. Uh, Obviously, if one of the accounts in the list had been removed, and if you've still somehow managed to capture its UPI ID and deposit money into that one, that money would get refunded back to you. So you would technically get the money back. And I have tried doing that. So I did get my money back in that one.
Now, I want to take you back to the Rapido driver story that Mrunmayee mentioned earlier because it is quite a crazy one. You see, in the old system of gambling, the one that the ED spent years learning how to chase money that is being moved through mule accounts, it was ordinary people whose bank accounts became conduits for betting deposits. Sometimes they were recruited through Telegram job ads and sometimes without their knowledge at all. One Rapido driver in Delhi had 330 crore rupees pass through his account in a single year. When the ED went to look, they found that he lived in a two-room shanty and had no idea about what had happened. To curb these kind of transactions, the RBI built an AI tool called Mule Hunter. It is used by 23 banks and has been trained on 19 signals, specifically to find accounts that behave like this. In August 2025, the ED froze 110 crore rupees in a single Pari match raid. But here's the thing, the whole enforcement architecture rests on one single insight. Illegal money has a shape, it concentrates and it leaves a trail. This new system, however, has no shape at all. So I asked Mrunmayee what the ED can actually go after now.
The honest answer is I don't really know what kind of mechanisms the ED can come up with to sort of, hunt down these new type of gambling platforms. And frankly, I mean, from where I stand, it does look pretty foolproof to me. You can't actually go after every UPI transaction and say, hey, why did you send him 2,000 rupees? I don't know. Maybe he owes me money, or maybe I owe him money. It could be a thing. I think this is something I also delve into my story, that betting has always existed in India in some form or the other. Okay, we are, as a country, we are incredibly good at math. We like to know how systems work, and we have done it in different forms. I mean, uh, it's just that the way betting happens has kept changing, and the way laws are formed in the country right now are from the perspective, like I said, of somebody who is a victim. So if you are to sort of regulate a system where there is no victim, it's a little difficult for me to see right now where it would honestly go.
Invisible to mule hunter. So, how does the platform actually make money? And how does that money leave India? This required a source who had built one of these systems himself. Mrunmayee had found him through a story that she had done previously on Telegram employment scams, and he walked her through the mechanics.
Every time you place a bet on the platform, out of the money balance that you have in your wallet, a little bit of the money is sort of skimmed for you from your wallet. Like if I'm placing a 500 rupees bet, it's not actually 500, it's like 490 something something. Okay. And that little bit of money that gets skimmed, it enters the platform's book. It's their internal ledger. Mind you, this is still not money given to the platform yet. That's just numbers in the platform's database as to how much, money they are owed. So to turn it into money, occasionally in these deposits and withdrawal system, and you don't know when those occasions happen, they route the deposits into a single core account.
Ah, I
Okay,
see.
so
Okay.
and you don't know how many times in the day they are doing it. If maybe, like I said, if maybe 20 lakhs of money moves through the platform in one day, there are some certain number of transactions, and again, you don't know which ones they are. They go into the core account instead of actually going into somebody who wants to withdraw the money at that point.
I see. So these
And
are
they
like
sort
the
of get the money
collection
like that.
accounts
Yeah,
which
these are
suddenly
the
they
platform
use.
accounts, and
Yeah.
they sort
Hmm.
of collect the money they owe in that sense, and they clear their own internal ledger that way. And those core accounts are also a liquidity buffer. Like for example, if somebody suddenly wants to withdraw 10,000 rupees, and you
Hmm.
don't have somebody depositing 10,000 rupees at that time,
Hmm.
this core account just pays them out. So
I
it is
see.
actually kind of a very well working illegal system.
Yeah.
There's a line I mentioned in my story that this is a system which operates as a legal banking network in everything except the name.
That's kind of true now that I'm understanding it better. But tell me something. So once these collection moments in multiple times of the day when when the platform is actually taking money, right, skimming off money, where does that money go? How does the next step work?
The next step works how pretty much every betting platform's money works. I mean, that money gets routed maybe abroad, maybe it goes into cryptocurrency, maybe
Mm,
there is some Hawala transaction through it. But the ingenious part of this, which kind of differentiates it from, say, the older betting networks, is that because there is no sort of pyramid like scheme, because there are no
mm,
mules, there is no direct connection to which is the platform's core account. So you
mm,
have really no idea as to which account is operating and sending money abroad, which account, all of it stays within India for the
I see.
visible part of it.
So, in a nutshell, you have a fee scheme so small that you don't even notice it. Then there is the core account that rotates before anyone can flag it, and the profits that are sitting in cryptocurrency wallets offshore. And here is the most interesting part. Where did the conceptual inspiration for this format of gambling actually come from? Turns out it came from cryptocurrency designed specifically to make transactions untraceable. Mrunmay's source told her about it, and then a reader of the Ken confirmed it in the comments under her piece. It is called Monero.
One of their main inspirations, and one of the subscribers actually pointed it out in a comment under the article, and I was very excited about it. One of the inspirations they had was a cryptocurrency called Monero. Okay, so you know how if you're transacting in Bitcoin, transactions in Bitcoin are pseudonymous, which means your name is hidden but your actions are public. Like if I know your fake name on Bitcoin is like S, uh, I can trace out exactly what you have done on the platform, who you've
Yeah, like
contacted.
even on Polymarket, you can see,
Yeah, I can
you
see
know,
exactly
yeah.
what's going on over there.
Mm,
In fact, there are
mm.
companies like Chainalysis and Elliptic which are built precisely to sort of trace out Bitcoin transactions that way. Monero, which was the cryptocurrency, sort of broke down that traceability. They use things like ring signatures, which means your transaction was buried between like among like 10 other transactions. So someone on the outside of the chain could only see that one of these 11 people have paid. You don't know who exactly has paid it.
Ah, I
They had
see.
stealth addresses. They used to hide the amount.
Okay.
The principle behind it was they made a transaction sort of blend in with everything else that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what betting platforms like the 99 exchange is doing. It's making every transaction look no different than a normal UPI thing. You
I
could be
see.
buying milk, buying a cigarette, maybe, paying a Zomato person.
Yeah.
All of it is hidden in a pile of very, very legal transactions.
Hidden in plain sight. Which brings us to the question at the center of Mrunmayee's story. India banned online real money gaming in 2025 with a law called the Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Act 2025. The stated reason was consumer protection, people who were being defrauded and victims who needed to be shielded. But on a platform like 99 Exchange, there is no fraud happening as such. Everyone chose to be there on terms that they understood. So, the moral architecture that the law is built on simply does not apply in this case. I asked Mrunmayee where she thinks this will end.
Betting has always existed in India. And there was this really cool series. I think it was on either Amazon Prime or Netflix recently called Matka King. Have you seen it?
Mhm. No, I haven't.
Oh my God, you should see it. It's really nice. So, Matka was actually an illegal numbers racket of the 60s and 70s. And it used to run in Mumbai out of the cloth mills with the workers over there. Essentially, it was Ratan Khatri who basically started this entire thing. He had come up with a system of drawing cards from a matka, and people had to bet on the probability of which cards would he draw that day. It was completely random. There was no way that this system could actually be rigged. At least he didn't rig it. And it was a very socially embedded system where, the mill workers were very willing to actually place bets on a matka. The bookies and, I mean, they would pay up whenever they had to. And people mostly looked the other way till it actually became big enough that, he had a lot of money. So, uh, eventually it got to a point where the government had its own lottery
Yeah.
system. So, I mean, this system which I see right now is kind of very similar to that one, where there is omerta of sorts where people aren't really complaining about it. So it's a question of, are you actually arguing about the morality of gambling? Are you, I mean, is this something you can legally imprison people for if they are not actually hurting anybody for it?
Ratan Khatri's Matka empire survived for decades. It was illegal and ubiquitous, and to be fair, also mostly tolerated. At least until the government launched its own lottery and absorbed some of that demand. So, a legal alternative changed the calculus in a way that enforcement alone never managed to. Whether that same logic applies here is the question that Nunmai's piece leaves open. The government banned betting to protect people from predatory operators. But when the architecture itself has removed the victim, the ban's original justification starts to look a little shaky. Will this lead to new regulations or continued selective enforcement? Or something else entirely? Nobody seems to know yet. For now, the money keeps moving, gambler to gambler, through rails built for groceries and rent in transactions that are almost indistinguishable from a Zomato payment. The state cannot see the shape of it, and the people inside it have no reason to complain. So far. Mrunmayee's full piece is on the ken.com. The link is in the show notes. I'm Snigdha, and this is Daybreak. Thank you for tuning in.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of the Ken, India's first subscriber focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber only offerings, and a full subscription offers daily, long form feature stories, newsletters, and a whole bunch of premium podcasts. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted and produced by my colleague Snigdha Sharma and edited by Rajiv CN.